Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita in chapter 4, verse number 20. A profound insight is being given into action leading to inaction, karma leading to vikarma. Rather, to put it in a more precise way, karma spiced with vikarma leads you to akarma. Karma means action. Vikarma relates to certain divine qualities as you begin to develop within yourself. The quality of controlling the senses. Dhamma, uparati, having your goal not confined to the world, but goal is towards liberation. Titiksha, learning the art of enduring. From very babyhood, I'd say childhood, we have been learning the art of endurance. Without endurance, you can't exist. But enduring in a rational way. You just don't go into, sit down in cold, freezing water and repeat mantra until you get frozen. That also is endurance. But not so. Endurance in a way that allows you to be enriched internal. Serenity, shama, faith, meditation, developing viveka buddhi. All these are results of vikarmas, or they are just called vikarmas. Vikarma is special spicing in your life. Keeping that in view, let me proceed with the verse. Tyaktva karma phala sangam nitya sripto Nirāśraya karmanyavi pravittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. Having renounced attachment to action and its fruits. Action, you must always understand, it has 3 stages. Manasa, vacha, karmana. Manasa means by thought. Vacha, speech. Karmana, action. And why does a soul get involved in action? Because there is an instinctive urge for the soul to be free of imperfection. The reality is the soul is essentially the divine self. Your spiritual movement, to have easy understanding, has 3 stages. Deha buddhyatu dasoham. As long as you view yourself, I am the body, continue to entertain in your mind the idea that this machinery of body, mind and senses that has been given to me by God, I am not the owner. I am His servant. Jiva buddhya tvadanshaka. But lifting your vision to the soul level, I am the soul. Soul that is reflecting in the mental process. So each time your mind begins to grab a sense of I am, that I am is not your normal ego. Your ego comes under 3 stages: Sāttvic, Rājasic, Tāmasic. Tāmasic ego clings to negative qualities. Tāmasic ego is like a glue that draws to itself all that is foul-smelling. That means anger, greed, hate, revenge. Always looking at the world with finger pointing to somebody's nose or the eyes. How to scratch them, how to. That's called Rājasic type, demoniac type. That's Tāmasic ego. Your profound insight must develop. Do not promote the Tāmasic ego, no matter how pleasing it may seem to you. Do not allow yourself to enjoy seeing people whom you consider as enemies to be humiliated, to be harmed, and much more so, not to carry itches for generations. Some people do that. That's Tāmasic ego. Rājasic ego wants bhoga, enjoyments in the world. It cannot imagine all the work you have done, all things you have attained, and you are not there to enjoy it. Vedanta gives you that idea. You work hard. But when it comes, liberation means you are not there. That's not exactly what Vedanta is, but that's it sounds to the masses. So, bhoga pravritti, movement to bhoga is easy, and majority of people go after enjoyment, but they have a Rājasic ego. Ego that has a sense of righteousness, but it wants to promote righteousness by hook or by crook. More by crook than by hook. That Rājasic ego is not you. Yet it gives you lots of fun, lots of joy. Sāttvic ego allows you to experience feelings in a profounder level. You come closer to your own heart with Sāttvic ego. Sāttvic ego allows you to experience joy, sense of security, stability, strength. But again, if sattva is not predominating, then sattva plays the role of Vibhishana in the story of Ramayana. Vibhishana was a great help to Ravana and Kumbhakarna. Ravana is Rājasic, Kumbhakarna is Tāmasic, and Vibhishana was Sāttvic. With the help of Vibhishana, Ravana, Kumbhakarna became great power. However, in the course of spiritual movement, Vibhishana was kicked out by Ravana and he joins Rama. In other words, once sattva has been kicked out of your normal plan of life, and it has joined, it has turned your mind towards God, and you go on understanding that God is the ultimate goal. And sattva within you is not nourishing rajas and tamas. It is joining with a movement leading to Rama Rajya, leading to liberation. This transition, developing sattva and allowing the sattva not to be under the grip of rajas and tamas, that's a subtle art of life. And you have to attain it in order to be enlightened. And you have no other choice. Now, as sattva begins to develop, there are certain characteristics. Having renounced attachment to action and its fruits. If sattva begins to develop and sattva within you is joining Rama's movement, sattva is joining the process leading to liberation, then what will happen? You will not be attached to action and its fruits. First point to understand that you become involved in any action, any type of project, with the idea of having a certain result. The result is the fruit. Sometimes, most times, for majority of people, it's the fruit that matters. How quickly I can get the result. Think of a student who just wants to pass the examination and attain the highest mark. What can be the easy solution? Stealing. That's extreme example of being attached to fruits, only fruits. Next type of student works hard and expects a result. And at the same time repeats the mantra. You have worked so hard, if I don't get this result, I'll kick the school. This is an example of being attached to action and its fruit. That's what, if you are profoundly involved in attaining liberation, which is your goal, then renounce attachment to action and its fruits. Your mind will say, then I'm left into a desert, emptiness. Because that's what gives such sense of joy in life. You have a project, wonderful project. You know how to do it. And a result is coming out of it. And here the teaching is renounce. But if you understand profoundly, view yourself as an instrument in divine hand. That sense of being an instrument is lifting your I am that is at ego level. At ego level, that I am is so limited. Think of a reflected sun in a jar of water. The reflected sun is in reality the sun. But it has developed an ego within the jar. This is me. And defined by the jar and whatever. Think of it in an allegorical way. Reality is that you are the sun. Action and its fruits, all these are in the realm of time and space. Both are in the realm of Maya. So therefore, If the reflected sun has to develop a real interest in being released, it would mean to realize I am the sun. If that is so, then all ideas of taking up a job, expecting a fruit, all that will become meaningless. But then from a very practical point of view, let me again reiterate some point from before. Gita has used two terms, yoga and sannyasa. Yogis and sannyasis. Yogis are those who emphasize inaction in action. They are doing lots of activity. And through all their activity, they are setting an example. For example, Shankaracharya was extremely active. Buddha was extremely active. And in spite of all the activity, Shankaracharya went on saying, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. He said in one place, then he went to another place, and he went to another place, and constant project. How to reach out to all people. That's illustration of yoga or yogi. I'm using it from profound point of view. And then there have been sages who are described to be constantly quiet. Nirāśraya, mystical stories. They are constantly practicing austerity in the highest pilgrimage center. And they are always in mauna, silence. But you can come down from that high level. There are saints and sages. Some saints remained mostly quiet. Their expressions were minimum. And yet, they were dynamic in influencing others. They are setting up the example of seeing action in inaction. So try to digest these two pickles. Action in inaction. Inaction in action. Both have to be digested by you in a spiritual movement. If you begin to advance, you learn the art of utilizing every resource, everything you do it well. At this stage, what you do with your hands is more important than what you say. And what you say is more important than what you think. That's practical reality in the world. But profounder reality, if you have allowed your mind to move Godwards, you are spiritually being enriched. You begin to realize that hand-based action keeps you in a little area. Speech allows you to expand. Therefore, there is all the texting and twittering. Your hand can't reach everywhere. And then you can have all types of words coming out of your mouth. And if there is no real inspiration in your thoughts, if there is no clarity in your intellect, and there is no opening to the eternity, the divine self within your heart, then all the words you are doing, they're creating lots of volumes of books, useless as time passes by. But the mana, the greater the mana that you are developing, and internalize the stillness, greater is your value for yourself and for the world. Try to figure out these two aspects. One, beginning, you have to use your hands and show them. You have to use your speech and allow your thoughts to develop. Another, understand not all the works that you do will bring you a deeper satisfaction. Works are important, but your goal is not confined just to allow your body to do a lot of work. A greater enrichment and fulfillment comes when you know how to bring a quality, a spiritual fragrance in your speech. And then, how to bring coolness, fragrance in your thoughts. Shītalamanda sugandha. Cool, gentle, profound, graceful. A perfect personality is both together. In his external world, he will be adept in doing the duties by his hand. The field will be small. He will be using his speech. He's using his mind also in small little jobs. But at the same time, he has the profound development of being much greater than the range of action by qualitative tongue. Saraswati sits on the tongue. And developing a qualitative thoughtlessness. Big void of Buddha sits on your head. Shunya. Padartha bhavana. All world and matter doesn't matter. It's all negated. All through the history. These two types of spiritual movements have been operative. Doing action and yet doing nothing. Doing nothing, yet doing everything. Seems paradoxical, but that's the project of Gita. So, having renounced attachment to action and its fruits, he who is eternally contented, nitya sripto, it has two aspects. Asakti tyag, paramatma darshan. Tripta means satisfaction. How can you be satisfied or contented if you are constantly depending upon the world? And of course, depending upon the world means depending upon your own body, depending upon people around you, relatives, friends, depending upon the world in countless ways. That dependence must move away for simple reason. Because all this is going to move away whether you like it or not. So why not appreciate it the way things are? Recognize that you have not been depending on the world. When you go to deep sleep, you are not depending on your body. You are not depending upon yesterday, today, tomorrow. You have no time awareness. Deep down, you are free of dependence. Why shouldn't that become your constant reality? That should become your challenge in life. So, asakti tyag. But it's not easy. A mind that has been tasting the joy of dependence, no matter how much you go on telling, don't depend, the mind cannot. Allow the mind to have Paramatma darshan. Think of a child extremely distracted by so many toys. And it is the project of detaching from all the toys. And it's developing terrible stress. I can detach from there, I can detach from all of them. But suddenly mother comes behind. Baby, look, oh, I like you only, I don't like this. Mind has the project, detach. Keep that project not so stressful. Allow your mind to become attached to God. Invoke, move towards a profounder type of insight that God is supporting you all the time. Become aware that you are enfolded by God, who is mother of mothers. Love of 1,000 mothers are enfolding you at every moment. So it's twofold function, asakti tyag, removing attachment, becoming free from depending upon the world, and becoming inwardly aware of divine presence. Each movement is progressive. You don't do it all at once. In degrees. Therefore, you gain twofold joy. The joy of being independent. You are not depending. And the joy of Paramatma darshan. Joy of beholding God. And that again, let me put you into a still higher level. The joy of discovering I am that. Deha buddhyatu dashoham, to the extent you are body, you view yourself, I am a slave. Jiva buddhya tvadanshaka, to the extent you are a soul, you are a ray of God. Therefore, all godly qualities can develop in you. Don't limit your mind and keep your mind restricted about your own self. When you think, this is all I can do, I'm miserable, driven by bad karmas. Astrologers have given me terrible sentence. Instead, you allow your mind to be joyous. I'm a ray of God. So whatever God is characterized by, all the qualities of God can flow through me. If God is peaceful, I can radiate peace. God is joy, I can radiate joy. If God is supreme peace, I can experience boundless peace. Even though practical reality may be far distant. This is called affirmation. You begin to create affirmation within you for the positive. And that is the greatest method of overcoming the negativity of mind. If you want to cure mind's movement towards stress, depression, and confused thinking, allow your mind to work with satsanga, good association. Allow your mind to do japa and create an affirmation that I am ray of God. God abides in me. In reality, the me in me is not real. God alone is. I am Satchidananda, existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. I can devour the whole world like Ganesha and digest. If you have come to practice this state of Nirāśraya, being free from dependence, then effects of karmas do not color your mind, no matter which way your karma flows. But if you are dominated by your mind and senses, if you are indriyadheen, under the control of your mind and senses, then you are easily affected by fruits of karmas. Everything affects you. Nirāśriyat chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvan apnoti kilvisham. Devoid of cravings, with the body and mind under his control, having renounced all objects of pleasure, a yogi performs actions only to maintain the body. After death, he does not come back into the world process that is beset with misery. Certain points are being highlighted. The term Nirāśraya has been used before, that he does not depend. And what are the qualities that allow you to develop that state of being independent? Nirāśir, without expectation. Try not to be dominated by your expectations. You have expectations, and you can even present to God, oh God, this is what I want. But look at into his eyes and say, but please, give me what you want, because you know better. You know me better than I know myself. If your prayer moves with this type of subtle insight, there is no harm. Rather, pray for anything that comes into your heart. As long as you know that ultimately you are asking God to give you his real blessing. You want God's love. Next one, yata chittatma, controlling the mind and senses. The simple point is there that you have Vishaya Sukh on one side, and Sāttvic Atma Sukh is inside. You need to live in the world in such a way that your senses do not dominate. Senses and distracted mind do not dominate your intellect. Your intellect has a clarity. If you don't allow your intellect its clarity, it's just like a chariot being driven by horses, and horses are uncontrolled. And chariot driver is texting a driver. Where will you be led in that chariot? Your entire mechanism of body-mind complex is a wonderful chariot. And so, if you learn the art of allowing this chariot to be in order, horses to be controlled by the mind, the reins to be manipulated by intellect, the chariot driver. Intellect must be pure and must go on becoming purer, Shuddha Buddhi. Then you are going to be led to your destination. And the world you live in will become greater, much more joyous. And all types of blessings will be drawn to you automatically. It's important to understand, spiritual movement is not asking you to turn away from the world, but it's giving you a secret of getting much more than you desire. All that you desire is a little balloon. But what is in store for you is so vast, the balloon will just blow away. If you have understood that and become a sadhaka, then you have adopted a path that will lead you to enlightenment. That's the healthy way to live in the world. A yogi performs actions only to maintain the body. Here again, the point is trying to clarify this point. The yogi who has attained enlightenment is not living with the same type of reality others live. Others live because the body is the basis of their enjoyment. If body is not there, they have no enjoyment. A yogi, on the other hand, he has become bodiless even though he has body. And even though it appears that he is taking care of the body, he is eating at a certain time, and whatever, all bodily realities, he does that only to maintain the body, which he is not. Just like you maintain a certain instrument, if you have a pen, you maintain it. It has proper ink, etc. Similarly, you maintain the body, and the body follows its karmic process. देह धरे का दंड है सब काहू को होए, ज्ञानी भुगते ज्ञान से मूर्ख भुगते रोए. Entering into the body is the predicament of all souls. Those who are jnani, those who are inwardly reflective, wise, they don't see themselves completely confined to the body and bodily activities. Just like the electrical world is not confined to a little bulb. And yet, little bulb is operating on the basis of electrical energy. So the bulb breaks out and electricity blows out. Electricity has not gone. So in practical life, a yogi, in brief, maintains his body like anybody else. If his body needs exercise, he exercises it. Body needs medicine, he takes it. If body needs all those things like anybody else. But in his case, he is not expecting that now this body is going to go to Switzerland, it's going to go to Alaska, can have nice fun. I'm making a joke. But the idea is his body is not going to accomplish any purpose for him. In the case of those who are not enlightened, their body is accomplishing a purpose. So as long as there is body, you go on creating your karmas, developing whatever devotion you are developing. And if you do not accomplish your goal, you are going to come back in another body. So your body has purpose for you. But in the case of a sage, his body is, another Upanishad describes that little slough that comes on a snake. A snake discards it and walks out. After death, he doesn't come back into the world process. Yadrichālāva santushto dvandvātīto vimatsara samah siddhāva siddhaucha kritvāpi na nibadhyate. If one is satisfied with whatever comes to him without his egoistic effort and is beyond the pairs of opposites, now there's an experience at your heart level, deepest level. Don't practice it literally. The idea to understand that at deeper level, you are profoundly rooted in the understanding. Aham Brahmas. I am, that am I. And therefore, in his action, there is no egoistic effort. Effort is there, but not with that ego. I must get it. If I don't get it, I will be ruined, and so forth. And he is beyond the pairs of opposites. Somebody can praise him, somebody doesn't praise him. He's not enlightened. He doesn't even show any light coming out of his face. He is also devoid of jealousy, matsar. Matsar and machar in India. Machar is mosquitoes. You go to a wonderful park and mosquitoes spoil all your fun. The world is a wonderful park, as it were. But when we develop jealousy, then mosquitoes, everywhere you look, you are jealous. That matsar. And balanced in success and failure. The success and failure are being defined by your ego. And ego doesn't know it. What you consider failure, later you will realize was your best opportunity for success. What you consider success, later may prove to be your failure. Vipado naiva vipada, sampado naiva sampada. Vipat visparanat Vishnu, sampat Narayan Hari. Adversity is not adversity. And prosperity is not prosperity. Implying, don't take it at surface value. Vipat Vishmaranat Vishnu. If your mind is not moving towards God, you don't have the subtle drip of divine sentiment in your heart, then even though you have gotten lots of lottery and lots of prosperity, that's vipatti, that's adversity. Because inwardly you are being deprived of nectar, real nutrition. On the other hand, if adversity allows your mind to turn to God, then that is not adversity. Simple point is, whatever allows your mind to turn to God, that is your real prosperity. Whatever takes your mind away from God, that is adversity. In outward terms, you have to figure out. If you are advanced, your prosperity will urge you to turn to God as well as adversity. If you come to live your life with that type of internal understanding, then you are not bound by karma. Karma will not be upadravi. Karma will not make troubles for you. With this, I'll conclude. Om Shanti.